survival guide. WTF. Where's the fun? Ever feel like holidays come with a hidden agenda? It's like, where's the fun? But also, WTF? We don't want to just survive this holiday season. We want to thrive this holiday season without losing our cool. Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Dr. Angel and I have a PhD in psychology, and I talk about all things mental health from a practical, strengths-based, and nerdy perspective. Holiday stress and burnout can be a very tough season for mental health. And today we're going to discuss some practical tips for boundaries, finding joy, and managing, the family drama. Because family gatherings where calories may not count, but comments do, and they can stay with us the whole year through. So what is holiday burnout? Well, holiday burnout is the time of year where we have lots of different holidays that come back to back to back. And whether these holidays be cultural or within our family or within our religious beliefs, or we just have those holidays because they're traditions that are important to us. We have all these extra obligations that come piling into a schedule that's already kind of overfull as it is. You have work and taking care of your house and taking your kids and homework and sports and this and that and these obligations on top of, they all happen in, for most businesses, Q4, which is where work demands pick up a lot because companies have extra goals they're trying to meet to get through the end of the year. And so we have this time of year that's supposed to be wonderful and beautiful and special that becomes totally overwhelming. And so holiday burnout can manifest itself through exhaustion, feeling super frustrated or irritable or just snapping at people for really no apparent reason, or just feeling really, really overwhelmed by any social or family obligations. And this burnout can sneak up on you. So it's really important that we kind of take a pulse on our energy levels each and every week through the holiday season. And we want to be paying attention for signs, those early warning signs, things like dread for the upcoming events, or even feeling resentment or guilt towards family activities or traditions. And then even the signs within our physical bodies, like extra fatigue or headaches or stress tensing up. This is a time of year where so many things are happening around us and we're trying to make everything happen. And it's like we're juggling 110 balls and trying to run around and catch every one of them before they fall. And it's really challenging. Burnout happens when you ignore your check engine light to your soul. And so we want to take that temperature of our check engine light to our mental health. So one of the ways we can do this is kind of the holiday checklist. Now, it's funny because when we start talking about family drama and holidays and that perception, one of my favorite holiday movies is the Christmas Vacation Story, because I just love Clark. He sees that holiday with this idealistic idea and thought and all the wonderful things that it will represent and that family will bring. And his experience is nothing like that. But I think a lot of us can be a little bit like Clark, because we think of those holidays and we can't wait to turn on the holiday shows that come on continuously with the, little rom-com and life gets perfect and the big problems can go away and magic and dust and all these wonderful things happen. And we're kind of looking for that in a sort of way, but it never kind of works like that in our real world. So then we start to feel really super disappointed. And so the holiday checklist is kind of this activity where we can start thinking about, what is it I do like about the holidays? What do I look forward to? What's important to me? What's the essence of the holiday for me? And kind of making that list of those activities that you really genuinely look forward to, that bring you joy, that feel uplifting instead of draining. Now, for some of you may have the activity isn't the problem. It might be the people you share that activity with that could be the problem. And we can make a note of that too in our list. We want to make sure we're prioritizing the things we enjoy to avoid the overwhelm. What and who do you really enjoy being around? We want to also kind of limit our activities and obligations that we're doing just because we're invited to. Because just because people invite you to something or just because you're related to people doesn't mean you have to go or partake or do. And so this is where boundary setting can be really helpful during the holiday season. Really helpful all year, but really especially during the holiday season because it helps us to thrive and not just survive. And I can hear it now. Dr. Angel, you do not know my family. They do not listen to my boundaries and they get all cranky and they just get mad. And then I have to deal with all the backlash and I'm just not going to do it. It's easier to just suck it up and go. Hear you. And a lot of people don't hear the boundaries, but boundaries aren't for other people to follow. Boundaries are for us. So yes, we can set boundaries with our family members, even Aunt Karen. So when we're thinking about boundaries, they're not the set of rules of what you're going to do. They're the protection lines of what I'm going to protect, what is valuable to me, and how can I protect that in the best way possible. So they're not about pushing people away and cutting them off and burning the bridge. They're about protecting your physical space, your mental space, your emotional space, your relational space, your financial space, your energy. All of those things come into play when we're talking about boundaries. And boundaries are not selfish. They're absolutely necessary. And when we're not using our boundaries, it's literally like we're getting in the car and we know we want to go somewhere, but we have no idea where we're going. And we're just driving and driving and driving. You know, I can think of something a lot of people go through is when you're trying to find a place to go eat. The infamous figuring out where we want to go eat. And yeah, everyone jumps in the car and we know we want to go eat something. And we ask, where are we going? I don't know. I don't care. Whatever you want. And then somebody suggests something. No, I don't like that place. Well, you sit there all the time trying to figure out where you eat to the point where you either get so frustrated you just forget it and get back in the house and go make a sandwich, or you go somewhere that somebody isn't happy about, or you just feel overwhelmed and frustrated with the process and going out to eat feels like forget it. Boundaries are kind of the same thing. And so when we have them, it helps gives us a guide of how we can protect ourselves and tools to bring with us to places and spaces that may be a little bit more challenging for us. Boundaries don't mean we don't have to do things we don't enjoy or being around people that might be difficult for us, but boundaries gives us the tool to do it when we choose to engage and to do it well. So boundaries are kind of like holiday lights. We want them to be bright, we want them to be clear, and we want them to be respected. But we have to respect them, and they're about us moving ourselves out of that space instead of us expecting the other person to listen to the rules of our boundaries, because that is not how boundaries work. So let's talk about some example scenarios. Things like setting time limits for visits or politely declining conversations that tend to get heated. You know, your family. Maybe you're the member of your family that you kind of think differently from your rest of your family. Maybe you have a different political view. Maybe you just see things different. We don't see eye to eye. And you know, there's always going to be that family member that brings up that conversation. Well, we know those things. We can think about those things and we can prepare those things. And so we want to get ahead of those things. Helps gives us tools. So we want to make a script. So a script is kind of writing down an idea of how we can address something that may potentially be an issue or a struggle that we can handle in the moment, but do that with those pushy family members, with those family members that tend to not want to hear our boundaries or throw the guilt or the manipulation on our boundaries. And so some of these scripts can really help us have some ways to protect ourselves. So here we need to think of what areas do I need to make that script for whatever I'm doing. And maybe each activity might have some scripts. Maybe we might have some general overall ones. So things like politely declining a holiday invitation can be a script like, thank you so much for inviting me to your holiday gathering. I am so appreciative of the gesture. Unfortunately, I have other stuff happening and I can't be able to attend, but I really hope you have a wonderful time and I hope you enjoy your festivities and maybe I can join you guys next year. That is a great way to give a script to decline an activity. Now, you know your family, you know your crew, you know how they go. You have to word it for you, make it true to you. But we can come up with those things beforehand and predict that. So now we have a way that we can nicely and politely and respectfully decline an invitation that maybe we just can't go because we're just too tired, or maybe we have too many things happening around us, or maybe we just want to stay home and enjoy our own kids or enjoy quiet. That's okay too. How about backing out of a heated conversation? This is a notorious one, and especially in years like this year where it's an election year and people are very, take each side of that fence very passionately, and it can lead to some really family conflicts at the holiday gatherings and the family meals. And so getting out of those conversations can be important. And so things like, hey, I understand this topic is important to you. I respect your perspective. However, I think it's best if we just kind of take a break from the conversation. We can agree to disagree and let's just have fun together. Like, that is a great way of getting out of a conversation that may go south or may just be very heated or have the potential for it. Because let's face it, that's one of those things that we dread at family gatherings. Who's going to open the line, or who's going to come at this, or who's going to talk about this. And just because we're family doesn't mean we all think alike and believe alike. In fact, we probably think and believe a lot differently than even we do from our friends. And so it can lead to extra opportunities for chaos. How about leaving an event when you need to leave, but you want to not be disrespectful? So you can just go to the person. Hey, had a great time. Thanks for inviting me. I need to get going now. I had so much fun catching up or spending time with you. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I'll talk to you soon. That is a great way to kind of get out so that you can go move on. If it's go home and rest or put the kids down or do something different, it's okay to have those scripts. So think about your own family events and how you can make those scripts kind of work for you. The next one we're going to kind of look at is like handling the family pushback, because, well, some family members resist boundaries, and we need to stay respectful and firm and true to us. And we can do that with saying no to others. But we also need to know that when we're saying no to others, it's not to be mean. It's not to be punitive. It's not punishment. It's saying yes to myself. It's saying yes to my time, my effort, my energy, my kids, my finances. Whatever that yes is, that's what you're saying. And so I want to reframe that. So saying no without the guilt. That's what we really want to get to, because let's just face it. The guilt factor, most people go to family events because of the guilt factor. And so saying no can come with that sense of guilt, obligation, responsibility, especially during the holidays when togetherness is emphasized. In fact, your families probably watch tons of the holiday commercials that start to air in October of the wonderful family gathering, and the super grocery stores that will run the ads of this perfect food on the table that's cooked to perfection, and all the family dressed beautiful, and the house is warm and inviting, and that's what they're wanting to bring in. And so if you are bowing out or not attending, their thought is, you're ruining my perfect event in my mind. And so that guilt and obligation may be projected onto you. And so this is a time where we see people we don't maybe normally see throughout the rest of the year. So we want to practice the positive no. And that was really kind of what those scripts were about. Each of those scripts that I gave you were an example of what the positive no could look like. So it's expressing appreciation, being direct, offering alternatives if possible. Like, hey, thanks for inviting us. We can't come on Sunday, but you know what? Is there a day next week that we can meet up, just the two of us, or we can just get the kids together or whatever? Giving that alternative may be a great way, because let's just face it. In this day and age, first of all, we have a lot of people around us. We have divorced families or families that never married, and who can go see everybody? It's not even realistic, nor should it be realistic. And how many families really take the time to sit back and enjoy their time with just who lives in their house? And so we have to have some boundaries here, because you will drive yourself insane trying to make everybody happy, that you'll never make everybody happy. And then you're tired, you're exhausted, they're upset. And it's just another holiday season that you're just like, I am so glad the calendar turned to January. So think about some good alternatives, alternative days, maybe setting a lunch, maybe doing something different so you're still able to talk to the person or see the person, but take that space away. And if the alternatives aren't possible, that's okay too. So a tip in this section, a polite thank you, but I'm going to sit this one out, can go a long way. So I want you to also think about that guilt. When you feel that holiday family guilt, it can be a reminder of your values. So we want to feel that guilt. It's kind of the yellow light, the warning light, as a signal to assess whether, how am I making this decision and why am I making this decision? Am I making a decision based on others' expectations? I want them to like me. I want them to accept me. I don't want them to yell at me. Or am I making this decision because it's for my own needs or wants or to protect myself? And we need to look at what's the driving force behind the decision, because the more we make decisions in that guilt and out of that expectation, the more resentful we start feeling in those relationships. And that's how we start having all the toxic behaviors that start happening, because we build up resentment and we don't even want to be around that person after a while because we feel controlled and manipulated by them. And guilt can be a very powerful manipulative tool that a lot of families use. In fact, it's joked about so often, but it's really not a joke. It's a very strong feeling. And anyone who feels that empathy and that care toward others, really guilt is that one feeling you don't want to feel. It makes you feel like a bad person inside. So guilt is a warning sign. So we need to assess what's triggering it. Why are we feeling guilty? We don't want to accept false guilt as our guilt. So is this manipulation? Is this toxicity? What's really happening inside? And this may be an avenue you need to go get some professional help on, and that's okay. It may be something you can kind of work out. Everybody's different. But guilt is a powerful force. And so guilt can be like glitter. It can just stick on you and it can just go with you everywhere, but you don't have to carry it. You can go get it off. And guilt can be really sticky to our emotions. The next part we want to talk about is just building your own holiday traditions. Hello, pull out that list we did back up at the top. And what did you enjoy? What do you want? What do you think about? What makes you happy when you think of holidays or the event? What rituals do you like? It could be a small, it could be alone, it can be a celebration, it can be whatever. Things like baking cookies or watching your favorite holiday movie or taking a quiet walk or whatever. It's how you make it your own and what brings you enjoyment. Maybe it's you like to take your kids and stroll through a park with holiday lights. Maybe it's you want to be alone with the fireplace going and a cup of hot cocoa. What brings you joy is part of your traditions. And I don't care if you're a single person. I don't care if you're married, if you're living with someone, if you're a mother, whatever your role is in life, you should have traditions that are important to you for how you want to celebrate each holiday. And they may have different traditions. So start setting some time aside for your own traditions that align with your values, things that bring you joy and honor your happiness. We can't always honor other people's wishes because, first of all, they're always changing. We'll never be able to do it. And we're always going to feel overwhelmed. And so it's okay to skip traditions that don't resonate with us. I mean, even if they've been in the family for years, just because it's a tradition doesn't mean it's for you. Traditions shouldn't be there to trap you. They're meant to bring you joy. And if you're having traditions that aren't bringing you joy, we need to look at that. Why and what can we do about it? So some coping skills for surviving that toxic family. Grounding techniques. If you don't know what that is, go back. We talked about that in our last episode. So things like deep breathing or visualization of thinking about how do I stay calm? How do I calm my body? Thinking about our body, relaxing, having a safe zone when we do go somewhere so that it can be a mental safe zone. It can be a physical safe zone so that we can kind of have those breaks and we can help stay grounded for ourselves, what's happening around us. How do I neutralize and deflect the conversation? Again, those scripts come real in handy right there. And not every action needs a reaction. Sometimes the best response is a smile and a sip of eggnog. Just because it's happening doesn't mean you have to get the last word, doesn't mean you even need to respond. So that's important to set yourself free from because silence is so powerful. And then plan an exit strategy. And we talked about our scripts, but if it's getting draining, have a strategy, because may not be able to foresee all the things ahead of us. And it's okay to say, hey, I'm not feeling well, or I need a break, or no explanation at all, because, well, no is a complete sentence. Recapping the main points we talked about: recognize those signs of holiday burnout in yourself, set boundaries, say no without guilt. If you feel guilt, look at that guilt, build some of your own traditions, and handle the family drama with grace. The holidays don't have to be perfect to be joyful. Take what works for you, leave the rest behind. If you found this content enjoyable or helpful, please like and subscribe, hit the bell so you'll be notified when new episodes drop. Join us next week as we discuss gravy, gratitude, and getting through it. Stay curious, be kind, and keep your mind nerdy. We'll see you on the next episode.